Right, good morning. Hope you're all keeping well. Let's go through some people who have greeted us. Hi, Trevor Gerson, Helen Feinstein and Brian, Michael Stain, Tracy Mindel, Norman Stain, Mark Wachenheim, and Melissa Ganendi. Thank you for joining. Robert and Maureen Levy, Larry Cohen, Shirley Feldman, Manfred Kalmuk, David Ginsberg, Eileen Dulovitz, Dennis Solomons, beautiful Ellie Faglin. Ellie Faglin all the way from down under. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining. Hope you're keeping safe down there in Melbourne. We welcome all those who are coming on. Your greetings, please do so. The comments are coming through now. Dazza, thanks for waving, Dazza. Good to see you. Ellen Krause, good morning. Lovely morning here. Good to see you all. Good morning, Murad Walken on YouTube Live. Stephen Herr, thank you very much. Ellie Faglin is in. Ellie, do you ever leave South Africa? You can move here permanently if you wish. We'd love to have you here on a permanent basis, Ellie. Good morning, Dennis Bessarabi, Stephen Herr, good morning. Hilly Lipworth, good morning, thank you. Lovely to see all our participants joining us. Fantastic response here. I see our numbers are logging on YouTube. So if you're just joining on YouTube, please let us know you're with us. We'd love to know who's here with us on this bright, fresh summer's morning. Summer. We'll call it summer, but yeah, all right. Sunny, a bit cool. Just give it another few minutes or so for people to log on. So just bear with us. Thank you. Linda and Jaime, thanks for joining. Jeff Eliasov, I see your comment coming through, but it's not posting it on the right group. So just step out of that Facebook class and go into the right one, which says Thursday, 7th of May. You'll be able to find us there. I see more people coming online on YouTube. Vega, Shelley Smith, good morning. Nice to have you with us. If you're just joining online, please do comment, give us your greetings. We'd like to know who's with us. Got a great crowd here on Facebook and on YouTube, so thank you for joining. We'll just give it another minute, and then we'll kick off our discussion for this morning. So thank you. Okay, we are ready to get going. So thank you for joining us this morning. If you're just logging on now, we welcome you all. We do appreciate personal greetings. If you're still online, you're coming online, and you're going to join us now for the next half an hour or so, just put your name in the comments or give us a greeting or a welcome. It'd be lovely to greet you. Shalom Triga, good morning. Please share this video. So click share, and it will go to your friends and family and others who will be able to see what you're up to on this bright morning of today. So I thought maybe today we would focus on something a little different, but yet relevant to today's times. And so powerful in the debates of Torah and the modern world. In many instances, as the world develops, there's debate. Does Torah embrace the modern world, or is Torah more spiritual, more aloof, more distant than the modern world? Good morning, Sharon and Diamond. And so when there's a breakthrough with technology, there are often debates. There are practical debates. There are philosophical debates. Just on a practical level, for example, when a new fridge is designed and they no longer have a globe as the light inside the fridge, you can imagine what debates that creates. Shabbos, can you open the fridge? Can you not open the fridge? Because with the old-fashioned fridges, all it took was to unscrew the globe and you were no longer transgressing the prohibition of putting on a light on Shabbos. But with today's modern technology, it's more complicated. I personally remember a number of times that I've gone on holiday to Kruger Park or wherever else it is for a Shabbos weekend. And before Shabbos comes in, I want to make sure that the light won't go on in the fridge. So I'm looking for the globe. I can't find the globe. It's LEDs now. It's strips that can't be accessed so easily. Not so simple. So the more the technology grows, the more complicated, or the more Torah has to debate how we embrace that. Or there's debates about the modern fridges that stop and start based on the door movement. As you open the door and cold air goes in and warm air goes in, the fridge starts working again. When you close the door, it sort of settles. So once again, halakha debates. Can you open and close such a fridge? That's just an example on a logistical, practical level. And then there's debates, let's say, regarding social media or technology or the internet, as what's the approach of Jewish law and halakha with regards to the modern technology of the internet or social media. Is it something we embrace? Is it something we distance? And you'll ask two people this question, and I promise you'll get 5 answers, because there won't be one opinion that agrees to the other as to what the approach of halakha and Jewish practice should be with regards to modern technology. I saw an interesting email this morning, because to be honest, here we are on a daily class, a discussion, and I invite the participants to contribute to this conversation. So if you have something to contribute, please put it into the comments. I want to hear from you. But here we are on a platform of social media, of internet, of Facebook. And it's something that I've appreciated for a good few years, 10 plus years. I've been using social media mainly for community work, to spread the word of Judaism, of Torah, of inspiration to the wider community. I'm not a big fan of using it for personal and for my family. That's something that stays more private between my wife, myself, my children, the extended family, grandparents, cousins. But I've used the internet and social media platforms for a good few years. Good morning, Jane Lichtenstein. And I've seen the value. But not everybody has that same approach. As I said, you ask 2 people, you'll get 5 answers. Not everybody has that same approach. Some people have been of the opinion that Torah doesn't need social media. On the contrary, social media could pervert Torah. As we know, Facebook is a public forum. Many things feature on Facebook. And one who's trying to protect the content that enters their eyes and their brains don't always feel so comfortable with the offerings of Facebook, Instagram, etc. And so out of concern, they preferred to stay away. Out of concern, they preferred not to engage. Out of concern, they preferred to keep the Torah holy and protected and not perverted by the offerings and the exposure of what social media has to offer, or the internet or modern technology. So I saw an interesting email this morning that went out to Rabbonim and Rebbetzins, community leaders around the world. And this was the line. I want to read you the line. This was the line. 7 practices for reaching and leading your community on social media. Having an online presence has recently gone from optional to mandatory. Having an online presence for a community leader has recently gone from optional to mandatory. I would like to say that that's not only an instruction to Rabbonim and Rebbetzins and community leaders. I would say this is an instruction or a tip of advice to even business owners. You know, if your business wasn't on social media until now, it may have been optional. I think now with lockdown and changes of environment and changes of work, the work atmosphere that we're going to go through in the next coming or possibly years, it's now time to upgrade to presence on social media. But I'm not here to discuss business or business owners. I'm here to discuss the Torah and the way it relates to our lives. And so I found that email quite fascinating, because for over 10 years we've been debating, does Torah use social media? Do rabbis use social media? That's a big debate. And here the email says that having a presence on social media has now gone from optional to mandatory. So what does it mean? Why is it mandatory? The question is, are we being forced by the circumstances to now take our shiurim onto Facebook Live or YouTube Live? Is that why are we forced? And because we're stuck at home or unable to reach our crowds and reach our community, we've got to find other forums, other platforms to be able to reach people. But that sounds like a very forced situation. You know, I've got no choice now, and this is what I have to do. Personally, I think it's more than that. Personally, the power of technology, when used right, can reach very, very far. And what a rabbi does in a shul context of 10, 15, 20 people, with the help of social media, he could be speaking to 100 people the same. 20 people live in front of him, and maybe 80 or 100 people via the screen. In today's time with lockdown, well, it's not 20 people in front of me right now. It's a screen in front of me, Facebook, YouTube, but I have you our listeners, our viewers, our students who are able to receive. And so I'd like to debate and to say that the current situation that we're in, and we are now using social media and technology more than ever before, with Zoom, with Facebook, with Instagram, and other technologies, other platforms, we are not being forced into this by Corona lockdown, but rather God had in plan that technology would advance in such a great speed so that we would specifically have this platform to be able to use it to reach further and more people. We're not forced into this. No one's forced into this. But rather, it's an opportunity that's being given to us. We can now reach family. We can reach family. On that note, it's my grandfather's yahrzeit tonight. Yitzchak Tzvi ben Yosef is his yahrzeit. For the first time, our entire family, children, his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, will be gathering together this evening, or this afternoon here in South Africa, this evening in Australia. We'll be gathering together for his yahrzeit, to learn together, to talk together. We've never done that before. I've always missed out on these gatherings for my grandfather's yahrzeit because I live out of Australia. That's where the most of the family is. And their timing is not always suitable for my time, for my schedule. But now, with the advancement of technology, I'm now able to touch base with my entire family, to be able to learn together, inspire one another, and commemorate the yahrzeit of my grandfather. So my point is, I don't believe we're being forced into this. I believe that God has given us on a golden platter the platform to be able to connect with Torah, with inspiration, with rabbis, with shiurim, with family, more than ever before. Does that mean that we shouldn't be careful? Does that mean we can read and watch whatever comes our way? Absolutely not. That's not appropriate. It never was. Even when walking down the street, there's distractions that we have to turn our eyes from. So just because social media or Facebook provides content that may not be appropriate, that doesn't mean that we have to ban it. Even though for so many years, Torah leaders have banned it. But I would like to debate and to suggest that this era of lockdown has shown us and taught us how these tools are not just something we're forced to use. They offer an opportunity in good times and in more challenging times. Hopefully we can walk out of the lockdown period much more inspired to be able to use the platforms to reach further. I heard a shiur by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and he was saying to the listeners that he's trying to figure out what's the message through this lockdown, what's his takeaway message. And one of the things he's learned is the potential, is the reach, that he is able to reach so many people. Using technology such as Zoom and others, he's able to reach so many other people, which he never realized he could do in live time. At the moment, while I speak, we've got 24 people logged online on Facebook and 11 people on YouTube. That's over 35 people. There are 35 people at the moment listening into our shiur right now. We're not being forced into this. Yes, we're being forced into lockdown. We're not being forced into using technology, but rather technology has given us an opportunity of connecting with each other, and hopefully will last a lot longer after lockdown. Many other teachers and rabbis and lecturers and educators can use these platforms to be able to connect with their students. Now we see this debate of how does Torah embrace technology. Does it embrace it? Does it not embrace it? How does it embrace it? The truth is, it goes back all the way back to days of Moshe Rabbeinu, to Moses. This will get onto some content of Torah now and connect it to our theme of today. Moshe Rabbeinu was told to write the Torah. He wrote a Torah, like we have a Torah today in our Ark, in our Aron. He wrote a Torah too. He in fact wrote 12 Torahs for the 12 tribes. He gave one Torah per tribe. I just want to take a break, a pause, an advertisement break. If you're just joining us this morning now, we would love to know that you're with us. So please do comment in the comments and chat. Thank you, David Fredman, for your warm welcome. If you're joining us on YouTube or on Facebook, we'd love to know that you're with us. So please just comment in the comments below and let us know that you're joining us this morning. So Moshe Rabbeinu was told to write a Torah. He was then told that the Torah, where should he place the Torah? Where does it need to go? He's going to place the Torah in the Ark, in the Aron. Well, not in the Aron, by the Aron, should I say, next to the Luchot, next to the tablets. That's where the tablets were kept, in the Aron. So too, the Torah is kept there too. But there's a debate in the Talmud. Gemara debates where exactly should the Torah be placed. There was a shelf. Where should the Torah be placed? Is the shelf or is the placement of the Torah inside the Ark? Or is the placement of the Torah outside of the Ark? One opinion in the Talmud says that there was a shelf that extended outside of the Ark. And it was on that shelf that we place the Torah, on the shelf outside of the Ark. Another opinion says, thank you, Marcel Nathan. Eli Faglin, Shkoyach, Eli, tag Osha. Eli, you haven't tagged him. Tag him on the comments, and maybe that way he'll join us. The other opinion says that the Torah was placed inside of the Ark, next to the Luchot. It's a fascinating debate. We don't know where was the Torah placed. We don't know. But it's more than just a debate. Where was the Torah placed? It's more than just that. It's a philosophical question. Good morning, Lionel Rubin. Thanks for joining us. It's a philosophical question. How far out can Torah go? To what extent can Torah engage with the technological world, with the world of modernity and the modern? That's a debate. And the sages have debated this long before Facebook was created, long before social media or Zoom, long before modern fridges with LED lights and sophisticated motors. Long before that, the sages were debating this same debate. Can the Torah sit outside of the Ark, or must the Torah be inside the Ark? In other words, do we have to keep the Torah protected and isolated and private and secure inside of the Ark? Or perhaps we could put the Torah on a shelf sitting outside of the Ark. And when the Torah sits on the shelf outside of the Ark, it now has the potential of engaging and reaching much further out with the modern world and the sophisticated world and the secular world, because the Torah is outside of the Ark. That's the debate. Do we embrace social media and Facebook and technology and Instagram to share our message of inspiration of Torah to the wider world? Or no, that's perverting Torah. We can't do that. So rather what we'll do is keep Torah insular and protected inside of the Ark. And that means come to the shul, engage personally. That's the only way you're going to get a taste of what Torah has to represent. But God forbid, see, YouTube may have a problem with sound. Anyone on YouTube can just... Earlier was actually one other who I'm sure you remember very, very well, with Herschel Klein. So it's his yahrzeit tonight. I'm sure you heard that bit earlier. All right, Daza, thank you. Hearing fine. Shirley Feldman, thank you very much for your comments coming through now. Great. So the key is that the shelf has to be connected to the Ark. If the shelf is not connected to the Ark, I don't care what excuses you use. Call it Torah or whatever you want to call it. If the shelf is not connected to the ark, you're off the page. You're not following the authentic pathway of Judaism. Thank you, Shalom Trigger. Comes and goes. Eli Faglin, I see your comment, man. It happens to the best of us, let me tell you. Happens to the best of us. Dennis Solomons, if you study Torah, can you avert the angel of death? Yes, we'll discuss that in a moment. Comes and goes. Okay, good. So here's the big debate, because so many people want to apply Judaism and Torah to the modern world, but the problem is that they are far away from the ark. They're not on the shelf that's connected to the Aron. The Aron is there, and their Torah is there. It's two different worlds. That's not what Torah can do. That the sages did not say is permissible. The Torah said, the opinion says, you can build a shelf that's connected to the Aron, and on that shelf you'll have the Torah. You want to take the Torah away from the Aron? You want to apply Judaism to the new modern world and leave the authentic background, authentic history? That you can't do. That you can't do. It's a very fine line between engaging in the new world to losing the authentic touch of Yiddishkeit. A very, very fine line. And that is what Rabbonim and leaders do. They debate these topics. When can you? When can't you? When can you engage with the modern world? When can't you engage with the modern world? It's not so simple. Everyone agrees that you've got to, well, not everyone, but we should agree that we need to hold on to the authenticity of Yiddishkeit, of Torah, of Judaism. How do you hold on to the authenticity of Torah and Yiddishkeit while you're trying to engage in a new world? That is complicated. Many of you will remember that before Pesach, there were discussions regarding Zoom. Now, I personally knew about Zoom long before lockdown. As I said, I enjoy the social media platforms and the opportunities that God has given us to be able to engage a lot further than just our immediate family and friends. So I knew about Zoom, but many of you and many people didn't know about Zoom. Zoom was like a new reality, even though it existed long before lockdown. It was a new reality that the world came to learn about. Facebook Live, YouTube Live. I see lots of you have learned new things in the last few weeks about what the modern world has to offer, what technological advancements there have been. So you may recall the debate that took place before Pesach as to whether we could have a Seder over Zoom. I'm sure you recall that discussion. Or even a debate whether we can say Kaddish over Zoom. There's a difference between Kaddish and the Seder. I think the plan with the Seder was to put it on from before Yom Tov and keep it running into Yom Tov and allow for the Seder to begin, and the screen is on and participants from around the world, in particular grandparents, will be able to engage and to connect with their children and grandchildren. You may recall that. But ladies and gentlemen, that can't be authentic Judaism. That's called taking technology over the top. Personally, that's called stretching Judaism and Torah into a world where it doesn't belong. To allow for screening and videos and Zoom to play on Yom Tov in our dining rooms, that's not authentic Yiddishkeit. That's not authentic. As difficult as it is for grandparents to be alone, we appreciate that. But to allow for streaming, a live stream of the meal of Yom Tov through Zoom, that can't be. That's called putting the Torah on a shelf that's far away from the ark. The ark is there and the shelf is there, and it's two different worlds. The machloket, the debate in the Talmud regarding this Torah was, is it inside the ark or outside the ark? But it needs to be attached to the ark. And that's where the two opinions agree. It's got to be connected to God. It's got to be connected to authentic Judaism. It can't go into a new world that breaks traditional authentic standards. That's not Yiddishkeit. That's not Judaism. And so when we start pushing the boundaries, we got to keep on asking ourselves the question, am I being authentic? So while I started off and I said that I've engaged with social media and technology and I enjoy the opportunity to reach more people than just sitting in front of me, I agree with that. And I quoted the email to you, to community leaders, rabbis and rebbitzins, that says, while having a social media platform was voluntary until now, it's now mandatory because you can't reach your congregants and your communities if you don't engage with the social media world. So I agree with that. But I also believe strongly that it needs to be based on very strong principles, very strong values. Because the moment you don't have those principles, the moment you don't have those values, heaven forbid what can happen. Heaven forbid what can happen. Like a Pesach Seder on Zoom. That wouldn't work. That's not authentic. That's not the origin. That's not the ark. Apologies if any of our viewers or listeners did celebrate their Pesach Seders over Zoom. I'm sure our participants, but nonetheless, it's okay. We got to say the truth. And what's true is true. I don't judge anyone differently based on what they do. I love all Yidden, all Jews. And it's just important to clarify the principles and the values of Yiddishkeit. If you have any questions or comments on what we've discussed until this point, please do share it in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. It's been an interesting conversation or discussion, bit of a controversial topic, but nonetheless still important to discuss. So let us know by putting a comment into the comments bar at the bottom. Love to know your thoughts on this conversation of authentic Judaism in a modern world. That would be the title, Authentic Judaism in the Modern World. I saw a question earlier. Let's just address Dennis Solomon's question. Dennis Solomon asked a question today. If you study Torah, can you avert the angel of death? Exactly, Dennis. Exactly. David HaMelech, King David, is known for that. King David studied Torah and studied Torah and studied Torah because he didn't want the angel of death to take him away. So he managed to bypass the angel of death, but until his time was right. The moment Hashem said that David HaMelech's time has come, it came. And Hashem sent a distraction, which distracted King David. The trees ruffling outside distracted King David. And as a result, he stopped his learning. He fell. And that's when the angel of death took him. So yes, it does help to avert the angel of death, but only up until a certain point. Once Hashem has decided what your outcome is going to be, then that's what it is. We are learning today in memory of Esther Bat Moshe. Thank you, Stephen Her. I see Shelley Smith's question. And Stephen, on YouTube, what's the position with Kaddish on Zoom? No, the answer is Kaddish can't be said on Zoom either. And to be honest, I have heard about people that are saying Kaddish. Okay, hold on 1 second. Right, Eli, I see your question. I'm going to come to it now. With regards to Shelley Smith and Stephen Hurst's question about Kaddish, no, it cannot be said. Kaddish can't be said on Zoom. I'll just share here that I heard from a rabbi who shared that he did a prayers shiva over Zoom, which unfortunately is the reality of today, to do shiva over Zoom. And towards the end of the prayer ceremony, the shiva ceremony, the family says to the rabbi, okay, Rabbi, it's time for you to leave, because once you leave, we're going to say Kaddish over Zoom. And I found that a bit strange. You're going to wait for the rabbi to leave in order to say Kaddish over Zoom? Is that authentic or not? Hold on one second. Norman Stain, not long life for my late dad. Norman. Long life for my grandfather. It's my grandfather's yard site tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Linda Drew. Okay, Ellie's question. As you can see in the comments, does it really make a huge difference if of old grandparents on their own that drive on Shabbos and Yom Tov anyway and watch TV on Pesach? Should they avoid a Zoom with grandkids to enhance their Pesach? Okay, Ellie, you're absolutely right. In theory. But practically, we still say what's true. So I will say here that one shouldn't drive on Shabbos and Yom Tov, even to shul. That's the truth. It's part of Jewish practice. That being said, those who drive are more than welcome to come into shul. So there's two different channels you got to work with. On the one hand, we embrace everybody, and we don't impose anything on anyone, and therefore each person has to make their own choices. But in a shir like this, a discussion like this, where we're trying to discuss the truths of Judaism, the truths of Torah's values, you got to say things as they are, even if people may not observe it or keep it as ideal. Nonetheless, the principles are right, and they should be said from time to time. Thank you for joining. I hope you've enjoyed. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead. Take care, keep safe, and I look forward to engaging with you once again tomorrow. All the best. Over and out.